Hey guys, okay, here we go. We're still on this polygyny topic. Once again, guys, I'm going to really just hammer this thing on polygyny and just tear down the walls of this Greco-Roman Christian theology about polygyny. There's nothing wrong with polygyny. Okay, polygyny is something that came from the Greek culture, then to the Roman culture adopted it, and then Christianity was adopted or created by the Romans, which became the Roman Catholic Church. So guys, let me this is for guys here. Let me calm down. These are for people who have ears to hear and eyes to see. That's the only people. So I'm doing this video because this is the deception and the lies of Christianity. This is the stupidity of Christianity, that they're deceiving people. You have the deceived, deceiving the deceived, the blind leading the blind. So I'm going to show you a perfect example. So one of the persons comment on my video, this is the last video of me responding about my grandfather being a polygynist. He talked about how he gets it, that he knows that the people in the Old Testament practiced polygyny, but now in the New Testament, he quoted in Mark chapter 10, verse 7 to 9, talked about a man must leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one. He quoted Ephesians 31. But here's the deal. So guys, I told you in the other video that I've read the Bible, okay, from Genesis to Revelations. I was not your typical Christians who only read the New Testament only. I actually opened up the book, read Genesis, Exodus, and kept on going until I got to Revelations, okay? When I was a Christian, they told me, don't read the Old Testament. The Old Testament is bad. It's bad. Just focus on the New Testament. I was told that. So I'm like, what are they trying to hide in the Old Testament? So I was one of those Christians, when I identified as a Christian, that actually went and read the Bible. I read Genesis for myself. And so I was being discouraged in the beginning, but now I know why, because that is where the truth lies. You're going to understand the New Testament when you have an understanding of what's in the Old Testament, because everything in the New Testament is just literally bringing clarity to the Old Testament. It's not changing it. The Bible makes it very clear. Do not add or subtract, or it will be a curse on you. So Paul, none of the Gospels writers would have changed the word. Jesus made it clear, think not that I've come to change the law. I came to fulfill it, meaning to fulfill the requirements of the law, not to abolish it. He clearly says, don't think I've come to abolish the law. I came to fulfill the requirements that the law requires of him as a man. Because of the love he had for the Father, he tells us to do the same that he has done. Do as I have done. As I kept my Father's commandment, keep my commandments. So now, let me get to where I want to show you before I digress too much here. So you have a guy quoting Mark chapter 10, verse 7 to 9. Go read it yourself. It's about the man leaving his wife, mother and father, and cleave to his wife. Ephesians 5:31. But here's the problem. Those people are literally quoting what Moses wrote. And everybody said Genesis and the Torah was written by Moses. So let me read here. This is in Genesis chapter 2. And it's verse 23. Genesis chapter 2, verse 23 says, and Adam said, this is after Adam was the woman was created. This is after Adam went to deep sleep. Yah moved the rib from him and created a woman. And here's what it says in 23. Genesis chapter 2, verse 23 says, and Adam said, this is now the bone of my bones and the flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they both naked, the man and the wife, and were not ashamed. So guys, look it. You have Moses. You had Moses, who had multiple wives, who was a polygynist. You had David, who was a polygynist. You had Solomon, that was a polygynist. You had Abraham, that was a polygynist. You had Jacob, who became Israel, polygynist. You had Gideon. Gideon was a polygynist. You had priests, and you had so many people that knew about a man leaving his wife, cleaving unto his wife, and the two shall become one. So are you telling me that what was good for back then? So are you telling me that they knew about the cleaving and leaving and the one flesh, and they still practice polygyny? And Yah had no problem. He even gave David his wives, not wife, wives. And that wasn't enough. Yah says all you had to do was ask and I would have given you more. So this man leaving his wife and leaving his parents, mother and father, and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh, is not a new concept. It's something that's old. That's all they're repeating what was in the Old Testament. So everything that you quoted, this guy quoted in the New Testament, Moses knew about it. David knew about it. Abraham knew. Everybody knew about this stuff. So guys, I'm once again, this is for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. That's what I'm doing this for. So that you guys can see, read the Bible for yourself. Be a Berean. Go through the scriptures day and night. See what it says. Check my work. See if I'm off. Guys, I'm not crazy. I read the Bible. I've read this book. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Don't take my word for it. People won't even tell you to check the work. They'll give you an article or something. I'm telling you, go to your own Bible. If you have a holy Bible, now, maybe you have those Bible that only has the New Testament. If you only have a Bible that have New Testament, you can download the Bible apps. There's Bible apps that have Genesis all the way to Revelations. Get that Bible. They even have other books in there called the Apocrypha, but we're not going to even go there yet because that's a whole nother world. But if you don't have that Bible, you can download it. You can Google it. Look it up. I'm not making this thing up. I'm not the one that's lying to you. Christianity is a multi-billion-dollar business, and they're fleecing people. They don't care about your soul. All they care about is your money. That's all they care about. They don't care about your soul. And so I'm going to be talking more about this because there's more about this thing that you can see why our society has turned and become so effeminate. And it has a lot to do with this forced monogamous relationship that this culture breeds. It's been in the Roman culture, the Greek culture, homosexuality. That's why all of this stuff is happening, because instead of being a patriarch, we have become a matriarch. And a lot of this reason why we have all of this bad stuff happening is just sin, but you'll be surprised how much a forced monogamous society produces this type of society where you have homosexuality, you have effeminate men, you have all of this craziness going on. So anyway, hey, comment, like, dislike, but comment. Give me. I want to know what you guys are thinking. This is not for me because I need you guys to make decisions. This is to stimulate thought. I want you guys to start thinking. Christianity they do not want you thinking. That is against their whole theology. You can't think. You're supposed to just follow the leader. They say we're part of a cult. Our pastor tells us to think. He tells us to use your brains, check his work. In Christianity, you're not allowed to think. You're just supposed to follow the pastor. Whatever the pastor says, everybody do, and they regurgitate and tell everybody, well, this is what my pastor says. Well, come to my church so you can hear what my pastor have to say. But they don't teach you how to read this book for yourself. It's real simple. Real simple. You still need a pastor, but not a pastor that don't want you to look behind his work. All right. I hope this stimulate thought. Tell me what you guys think. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like, dislike, comment. Hey, let's keep the dialogue going. Let's tear down the walls of Christianities and the lies, the 2,000 years of lies. Let's tear this thing down. All right. Shalom, shalom.